Well, we're going to introduce our Westerner players at this point in time. Here are the rules and regulations of introducing players, interns, and coaches. We will ask the individuals to stand up. We will ask you, the audience, to hold your applause till the very end, when in a huge crescendo, you will make the room erupt. Okay? So just please hold your applause when we've introduced everybody on this list. And it's a little bit long. We'll first introduce the interns for the Westerners. And again, just stand up, keep your place. From St. John's, Chris Nathanson. From UMass, Melissa Barrett. From Norwalk Community College, Eric Lindahl. From Allegheny College, Matt Moscolo. From UConn, Ray Nunez. From LaSalle College, Ted Lindstrom. And also helping out today assuming the role of Westy is Melanie Vecchia Spooner. And on hand too, from Norwich to your PC, the streaming voice of the Westerners, Brian Irinazzi is on hand, and Fat Boy Nick Tyrell. Now to the players we know. Some players could not be here today. So we'll first introduce the guys who couldn't be here today because they're involved in postseason play. Among the pitchers, Matt Alvarez, Stephen Catalina, Dylan Clark, Louis Colazo, Sean Hagan, Andy Hillis, and Parrish Shuey could not be here. Catchers Michael Williams and Thor Meeks are in postseason play. Shea Vucinich is involved in postseason play. And infielder and outfielders Brett Stanford, Brett Neat, and Jimmy Brennan are involved in the Super Regionals. Amongst the players who are on hand here today, we are proud to introduce a pitcher from East Carolina University, number 39, Mike Anderson. From Lemoyne, a lefty pitcher, number 25, Mike Anarumo. A righty pitcher from Nebraska, number 27, Ryan Hender. A righty pitcher from North Carolina, number 38, Tim Breckmuller. A righty pitcher from Tulane, number 1, David Napoli. From the University of Dayton, number 24, righty pitcher Bryce Larman. A righty pitcher from the University of Dayton, number 20, Ian Garnett. And also a Dayton Flyer, righty pitcher number 31, Mike Hochschild. In the infield category, first baseman out of Binghamton, number 4, Dave Chioki. From Fairfield, a pair of infielders, first baseman, number 19, Anthony Hunter, and second baseman, number 2, Tucker Nathans. From Fordham University, shortstop, number 9, the leaper, Brian Kaunaki. Franklin Pierce brings us infielder number 28, Derek Ingrid. And from Tulane, infielder number 3, Brian Barry. Also on hand, outfielder number 7 from Tulane, Brandon Boudreau. From the coaching staff on hand here today. In his first season, but I should say this gentleman could not be here today. In his first season, but he will be assuming the Don Zimmer coaching role with the team, Jack Deering, and he'll be wearing number 14. In his second year, former player turned coach, it is number 29, Corey Mascara, and also in his third year as a coach and a local pitching legend who's certainly cut a bright swatch along the pitching ways of the USA, number 10, Sean Fesh. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you may applaud your Danbury Westerners. And now let us introduce the man who will be back for his third year as the manager of the Westerners, number 21, Jamie Shevchik.
Thank you. I want to bring my 2 assistant coaches, Sean Fesh and Corey Mascara, up here with me. I want to thank a few people before I talk about a little bit about the team. Mike Malone, Terry Whalen, all the volunteers throughout the organization. We appreciate you bringing us back for one more year. In most cases in the baseball world, after not 2 years, or 2 straight years, we thought our job would have been in jeopardy. But we appreciate coming back to the city of Danbury again for our 3rd year. The one big thing that I've seen here over the past 3 years is, and I talked to the players about this yesterday, last year, our first year that we were here, we had a subpar year. We were all new to the scene. Last year, we were 5 games out of the playoffs, I think, with a week and a half to go, and we lost a lot of players along the way due to injury for whatever reason, and we put together a pretty good winning streak and pulled in within a play-in game of trying to make the playoffs for the first time in quite a while. And the one thing that really stood out with this city and with the people who were involved in this team is throughout the beginning part of the year, there was maybe 200, 300, 400 fans at the most that came to support this team. That last stretch of 15 days, when we put that winning streak together, I believe towards the tail end of the year, the last couple of games, we were averaging close to 1,500 to 1,800 fans. And that was an exciting time. That was an exciting time for our players, our coaching staff, and everybody who came out to see us play. And that's the type of support that this team, was feeding off through the entire year. And that's the type of support that we hope we get again. I want to thank specifically Corey Mascara. Corey worked his tail off this entire year in the recruiting process. And this started with probably 2 weeks to still go in last summer's schedule. And probably called every coach in the country, talked to every player in the country, and somewhere along the line, a lot of these coaches wound up giving us some of their better players. I think at times, just to appease Corey so he stopped calling them. And that's the type of kid he is. He's a very young, energetic coach. He's going to be a great coach someday. And one of the great things that I enjoy about this summer is, being with Corey and being with Sean and meeting the new players and being around those guys for 2 months. It's a great experience like I've never seen before. I've got a lot of highs and lows that come out of a college baseball season. We bust our tails for 9 months, and right at the very end, we all lose somewhere along the line. And that happened to me, less than 10 days ago. So you've got your downs, and then you get to get pumped back up again and get ready for a brand new year. And this is a great time for me in the summer. I enjoy being in this city. I enjoy being around these players and everybody who supports us. Corey, I've asked to come up here a little bit just to talk a little bit about the team in general, because he spent literally, countless hours on the phone each and every week about trying to get some of these young guys that are here today.
Well, it's been well documented that we haven't had a winning team in the last 4 years. And every year, people stand up here and say, this is the year we're going to be good. This is the year we're going to make the playoffs. But I can confidently say that this team is talented enough to bring home a championship this year. We have players that represent the best conferences of college baseball in the country. We have players from the SEC, ACC, Conference USA, Big East, Pac-10. We have kids who are freshman All-Americans. We have kids who are all-conference players. We have kids who have been drafted out of high school. We got guys that throw in the low 90s. We got pitchers that, they have 3-pitch mix. They throw strikes, all our stuff. We got lefties, we got righties, we got size. We have guys that can run a little bit, guys that can hit a little bit. A lot of our position players this year had great seasons. Guys stepped in as freshmen and hit right away. So really, there's no excuses from a talent level on what we have. When we put this team together this year, a lot of times you put teams together in summer leagues, and you have kids that you think could be role players. This year, I really don't feel like there was one guy that we put on this team that could be a role player. I really genuinely feel like every guy we have can be a contributor. And, a testament to that is the fact that we have 8 guys in the NCAA regionals right now playing in the NCAA tournament. And I still feel like we got a squad to go out there. I think we only have 15 guys right here right now, and 3 more are going to be with us in the next 2 days. And I still feel like we'll be able to compete with anybody with the 15 guys we have, and that's saying something, So if you guys want to see some great baseball, some talented guys, some guys who one day will be playing at the next level, it's cheap, it's entertaining, and it's local. So come out, check us out, and hopefully we can put together a great season for you guys.
You can talk. I told him 30 seconds max. But again, I just want to thank everybody who's involved with the Westerners for putting this event on and for all the support that we get throughout the year. I know our players are going to appreciate it, and I'm sure, and we appreciate it up here. Thank you.
We have some special recognitions we're out this morning, but also I just wanted to make sure I acknowledge some people that have done some wonderful things in our community, some real valuable people that have been with us for a long time, and some of them are newer than others, but just wanted to say thank you to the folks at Union Savings, John Klein, Bill McNamara, Jane, Marie, Gene, just everybody there. You guys have been with us for a long time, and your support is really appreciated. Thank you. Bill Colton, Mr. Babe Ruth, Mr. Jimmy Fund, and now Mr. Westner, thank you very much for all your tremendous support. Charlie Coakley with Denver Youth Baseball has been wonderful. Charlie is off for a much needed weekend and not here today. The Westerners wouldn't run as smoothly without folks like Charlie Coakley and his partner in crime, actually Terry Whalen's partner in crime, Nick Kaplanis, who just makes sure everything works, and we have a tremendous relationship with Nick and the city parks. Thank you, Nick. I also want to thank Gene Erquist for his inspiration. He's the guy that got us started along with Joe Constantino. But, and Joe, thank you as well. Just want to thank you, gentlemen, for really making us continue and to more or less help us to continue following the dream. And that's something, you know, some of our wives don't understand, but we seem to think this is a good thing, and we try to keep the Westerners going as long as possible. Thank you, guys. Particularly thank Sean Palmer, Mark Cummings, Kurt Goldstein. Thank you to the WLAD. You guys have been tremendous over the years. Thank you for these times as well. Thank you. Partners, in particular City Center, Andrea Gardner, you've been wonderful, been great to work hand in hand. Also wanted to say thank you to a couple of our former presidents, Martin Bedford. Martin, thank you. Chris Arcani, another president that's here, tremendous, you guys. This is my third year at the helm, and I'll tell you, it's a full-time job. It's really a very difficult job in that if you're trying to run a real job in real life and trying to do this on top, it takes a lot. And it also takes a lot of money to raise the Westerners. So obviously we hope you're all looking at the tip envelopes at your table. In any event, also some of our newer partners, I'd like to say hello and welcome to Hearn Sorcher of the Danbury Whalers, the new hockey team in town. And also to acknowledge the tremendous job of host families. Very difficult to get host families, particularly in this kind of climate, because as most of you know, our players don't eat much. And it's quite an experience. They play 42 games in 50 days during the regular season. And we are always in need of host families, still need of host families right now. We have some backup plans, but we still are a couple families away. So if it's something you'd like to do for either a part of the summer or the rest of the summer, let John Fitzpatrick or Paul, or Terry Whale, and myself know. We something with.
Oh, look, it's me. It's time for our guest speaker, and just very quickly, I'll tell you, I was in the company of former Yankee player and coach Roy White recently with a whole bunch of athletes. So Roy was there, and he was asked to tell his favorite George Steinbrenner story, which turned into a Tommy John story about how Roy was coaching in like one of his 26 stints as a coach with the Yankees, because he'd be in and out. George would hate him one day, love him the next day. And he's in the shower and literally gets pulled out of the shower, barely gets a towel on, because there's an important vote in progress. And when he gets with all the other coaches and the executives, the vote is, who do we keep on the Yankees? Phil Negro or Tommy John? And Roy White wants to get back in the shower and says, Phil Negro won 15 games last year. Phil Negro, I'm going back to the shower. And George Steinbrenner steps in and says, wait, Roy, I haven't voted, and my vote counts more. Tommy John. And so, we said goodbye to Phil Negro, and we welcome here today one of the best there is, Tommy John, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, Roy was still playing then. But the thing of Phil and myself, I came back to the Yankees in 1986. I was with the Yankees from 79 to 82, and then Mr. Steinbrenner got mad at me and traded me to the California Angels, and then in 86, I essentially came back to retire as a Yankee in spring training. I thought it would be nice to have 10 stripes on my back again. Fortunately or unfortunately, I pitched well enough to halfway make the squad, and it came down to Phil or myself, and they voted me. And had I learned how to throw knuckleball, even at 67, I still might be pitching in baseball. But I just want to thank you all very much. I've come to love the state of Connecticut. Managed Bridgeport for 2.5 years, and it's a beautiful state, and you have a lot of great things here. And to tell you how I like College Summer Baseball League, I'm doing this breakfast this morning. When we're done, I'm jumping in a car and we're driving to Little Falls, New York, where I'm going to thing this weekend for the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs. And then next weekend, I'm going to be out on Long Island in their College Summer Baseball League, doing a couple of appearances out there. Simply because these leagues are so essential to Major League Baseball. If there weren't these leagues, guys wouldn't have a chance to play against good players, and good players with wooden bats. And I know my son, Tommy, played in a summer league. In fact, I want to tell you how I think host families are absolutely so important to these leagues. My son was playing in Virginia in the Clark Griffith League, and he was complaining of a toothache in his shoulder. So I called the Baltimore Orioles general manager, Pat Gillett, and we got him an appointment with the Baltimore Orioles orthopedic, and they went in to do an arthrogram on his shoulder, which is a simple procedure. You shoot dye into the shoulder to see if there's a tear or whatever. And Tommy was staying with a very, very, very nice family in the city of Vienna, Virginia. And 3 days later, I get a phone call from a doctor in Reston, Virginia, wanting my permission to operate on my son's shoulder, who had, the shoulder had turned septic because the doctors got it infected. And had it not been for the host mother having enough, well, as motherly love, I guess, and take my son to her doctor, Tommy probably would have died. So, you look at host families saying, well, it's a place for the guys to stay, it's a place for them to eat. But you know what? Things arise, and host families can be very, 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 very important. And I just want to pass that along. The other thing I want to pass along, just because the guy says he's an orthopedic surgeon of a professional team doesn't mean he's good. As Sean Flesh will tell you with the Bluefish. I started playing baseball when I was 8 years old. Mom and Dad signed me up to summer rec baseball in Terre Haute, Indiana, and the journey started. And, it went through summer rec, 8 and 9, Little League, 10 to 12, State Group, American Legion, high school ball. In fact, in Terre Haute, Indiana, growing up, if you go back and ask the guys there now, I was probably known as a better basketball player than a baseball player. And I graduated valedictorian in my high school class, so I wasn't a dummy, but I knew 6'3" white guys that couldn't jump didn't go very far in basketball. So I had about 50 scholarship offers in basketball and 1 in baseball. And had I taken it, or had I gone to college, I would have gone to the University of Illinois on my baseball scholarship and then played basketball during the off season. But that's all I've ever done. And I remember when Mom and Dad put me on an airplane about 2 weeks after graduation from high school in 1961. They put me on an airplane to send me to that beautiful resort city on the Mississippi River called Dubuque, Iowa. And I saw my first professional game sitting in the stands. I remember the sports writer, I read the column, and it was a string bean left-hander. And I was 160 pounds, as tall as I am now, 160. And I was string bean. I had a massive 36-inch chest, a 28-inch waist, and if it wasn't for my butt and legs, I would have weighed about 130. But I remember seeing my first game, and I saw this little chunky lefty pitcher throw. He threw a little tailing fastball and a fastball in here and a curveball and a slider, and he had a little screwball changeup, and he actually threw not a splitter but a forkball, where he jammed it in and the ball kind of knuckled, and he got pummeled. Maybe 10, 12 runs he gave up. And I remember going back to my hotel, and I called my dad and I said, Pop, I don't think I want to be long for this game. I said, this guy had like 6 pitches and he gave up 12 runs. I had 2. I had a fastball and a curveball. I've got no chance. And my dad gave me probably some of the best advice that I've had. My dad didn't go to college, but he was a very, very, very smart man. And what he told me was, and this is what I want to pass on to any of the people out there, whether you're playing sports or whatever, he said, Tom, you've always been able to compete. Whether it was basketball or baseball or whatever, you've always been able to raise your game to the next level. And he said, no doubt you'll be able to do that here. And that was 1961, and I was, like I said, a fastball and a curveball pitcher. I retired in 1989 with the Yankees, and I was learning my 3rd pitch in that 1989 year. So I went all those years. I wasn't smart enough to learn a 3rd pitch. And I did all the stuff I did, all the damage I did. And actually, Roy White probably wanted to sue me, and other outfielders did, because they were crashing into walls trying to catch my line drives. But baseball is a game of competing, and life is a game of competing. And my first spring training in Tucson, Arizona, the late Steve Hamilton, the big tall guy who used to be with the Yankees that threw the volley floater, if you people remember that. In fact, he drove Tony Horton to the insane asylum. Seriously, he threw it, Horton swung, asked for it again, he swung, and he crawled back to the dugout on his hands and knees, and 2 days later he was in an institution with a nervous breakdown. And I don't know if it was a volley floater, but he was And I'm going to tell you, Sean Fesh is a good pitcher. Was a good pitcher for me with the Bluefish. He's going to be a good coach. He's going to be a better coach if those arms pitch well for him. And the Westerners are going to rise and they're going to fall on the arms of their pitchers. And it happens in Little League. It happens in high school, American Legion ball, college, soccer college baseball league, minor league baseball, big league baseball, championship, the teams that have the best pitching and the best defense are generally going to be the teams that are not at the end. And pitching, and I'm not saying that because I'm a pitcher, but if you don't have good pitching, it's going to be a long summer. I can tell you that. Because I played on some teams that were bad pitching, and it was long summers. I played on a team that lost 105 games. And that is not a good summer. But I just want to thank you all very much. You've got a great opportunity here to make these kids feel at home and to give them, who knows, somebody out there may be the next Steven Strasburg, or maybe the next Ken Griffey Jr. And that's what somebody asked me. They said, who was one of the toughest hitters you had to face? Ken Griffey Sr. I said, I could get Junior out. He was 12 at the time. I could get him out. Senior was tough. But, you have a great opportunity here. Enjoy it. And tell these guys, they're away from home. They're away from mom and dad, their girlfriends. And I don't know, some of you guys maybe have boyfriends. This is Connecticut, and we can't have. In fact, I asked the Bluefish my last year, same-sex marriage night is what I wanted to have. I thought it would be great, and they shot it down. I don't know why, but the other thing I wanted to do is have Midnight Madness. It is summer, first day of summer. Start the game at midnight, and I thought it would be great. They do it in college basketball, and it's great. You start at midnight, the game's over at 3:30. That's generally when the guys are coming in anyway. So I said it's going to be great, and we could get news. But I just thought the same-sex marriage night would have been. I don't know why they shot it down. But anyway, I want to thank you all very much. Anytime you want an old left-hander to come by, all you got to do is call me and ask me. Baseball's the only thing I've ever done. I sell in scoreboards now, but it still is baseball. And we sell football, basketball, baseball, hockey. The only scoreboard we don't sell is curling. And I don't know why, but I just want to thank you all very much. And have a good summer. And remember, these kids are away from home. And